first, how much of a real game do you see this as, 24 14 down to 5, and you guys are stopped?
Yeah.
So what would it be this group to think you guys make the playoffs?
I think it would be a tremendous experience for us. As we talked about before the game, the amount of experiences we can get are so important for this team, for the development of the team going forward. It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to everybody. It would mean a lot to New York. I think it would mean a lot. So we're hopeful for the first time in, this stretch of games, we finally, took care of what we needed to take care of. And now it's up to fate or destiny or, whatever you believe in. Yeah. Something Benijah said after the game was that it's one of the first times all year that we really got punched hard and punched back. And they kept punching and we kept punching. And that's something we talk about, the boxing metaphor a lot. To be able to take a punch is a really important skill. And at times during this stretch of losses, we haven't taken punches very well. When we stop making shots, we start to kind of go in the tank defensively and everything kind of falls apart. And we had, as we talked about, we had a really, really good film session yesterday. And I thought our leaders took heed of everything we asked of them. Benijah, Sammy, Natasha, they really took to heart what we said. And I think the entire team followed suit in terms of them holding each other accountable. It's such an important component of any good team. You have to have players enforcing the culture and what's expected. It can't just come from coaches. And that's something we've been, trying to build. A couple of people, Sammy and Benijah have never been in the WNBA. They've never been the leader of their team. They've never been, the captain and the amount of pressure that's being put on them with this young group to be really good leaders. I'm really, really proud of the way that they stepped up, and particularly Natasha with, I think, her most complete game of the season. She looked like Natasha Howard.
Yeah. Coach, Sabrina and being a player with a certain fire, from hitting clutch shots to pumping up her teammates, the crowd. What did you see from her that as a sign of what she brings to this team for years to come?
I think Sabrina's development has been remarkable. And I say that because this has been hard for her. And, we've seen a handful of younger players, and Sabrina's a rookie. I mean, I know that she played 2 games or whatever. Sabrina's a rookie. And the way that she's come around in terms of handling the lead guard duties, which is not something she's normally done. Normally she's been off the ball, right? And so calling plays, getting us into sets, making those big plays down the stretch. I thought Sabrina really controlled the game for us offensively and got us what we wanted to get late in the fourth quarter. So, talk about development like that, the calm she had in those moments to be able to make plays was huge. I mean, she looked like Sabrina Ionescu, right? I mean, she's looking like the player that we've all known she's capable of being. And I think the reason I say remarkable is because that's taken her listening to us, telling her to do things that she's never done. And for a player as good as Sabrina, it's really hard to trust other people when they tell you not to do something you've done for your whole life and you've been extremely successful doing it. And so the adjustments that she's made throughout the season and the humility it takes to make those adjustments, I'm so impressed with Sabrina. I'm so impressed. I'm so proud of her.
Coach, what does it say about this team, its resilience, its pride, that they come back from what happened on Wednesday and they come out and beat a team that's only 2 years removed from a championship and hold its best player, Tina Charles, in check? What does it say about this team? And what did you say to them in the locker room afterwards? Or if you read it personally?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of what we're talking about now. It's a lot of praising the growth and praising how difficult it is to do what they just did in the midst of the losing streak that we were on when a team gets insanely hot. I mean, it looked like the ocean to them. I mean, every shot, it was bang, bang, bang from 3. And, the way that they weathered that it really does say a lot about the mental toughness. But additionally, to come out and start the game the way that they did, to come out with that fire and that desire. I mean, I've seen so many teams lay down in a situation like this where it's like, maybe we make it, maybe we don't. We've lost 9 in a row. It's time to go home. We're frustrated. We're tired. They didn't do that. You know, they didn't do it in practice. They never quit. You know, outside of what I, said to you guys in that half in Connecticut, where I did think that we let off the gas for the first time in a while. And we really kind of just laid down. You know, Connecticut punched us and we didn't punch back. And the way that they've responded, as I've said to you guys so many times, the way that they respond, it says so much about who they're going to be, because it really takes a level of toughness to try something and not succeed or not get the outcome that you want and continue to try and believe in it. It says a lot.
And what did you say to the team afterwards? Like, what was your message to them moving forward as now you wait patiently for the results of the weekend?
One of the things that I talked about with them is I hope that they can remember next season the importance of the games that we let slip away throughout the season. Atlanta, Indiana, right? Games that we should have taken care of business and we didn't. And there's a handful of other ones, Vegas at home. And, we've had a lot of games where, we could have and likely should have won those games. And it's really important going into next year that they remember the frustration of being in this position now where we don't control our destiny because we didn't take care of business in the times we should have. That's a really important step for a team to remember that. And you have to get knocked out or knocked down a handful of times to know what's necessary to then stand up in that moment. If you've been knocked down before, the drive and desire that's going to be necessary to get back up and fight back. And so the biggest thing for them was that it's remember this in training camp next year. Remember how great this ending was and how had we taken care of business and paid attention to detail, done the little things consistently, this team could have been a 5 seed. They could have easily won 3-4 more games and boom, they jump way up in the standings. So I think it's a testament to their potential for sure. But I just remember in 2017, the Lynx had lost on that buzzer beater the year that I got there, and they had lost to NECA's buzzer beater the prior year. And I walked into this situation where the Lynx were just on a mission. And had they won the year before, I don't know that the outcome would have been the same. Maybe it would have, because they're amazing, but I can tell you that it fed them every day. Every day. I saw them draw on that experience, that frustration to motivate themselves on days where they didn't want to go. And that's exactly what I'm referring to with our team, that, hey, we can now hearken back to this season and say, remember when, if we would have taken care of one of those games, Dallas, Indiana, if we would have taken care of one of those games, we wouldn't have had to worry about who wins and who loses. I think that for me is we talk about experience. We talk about, the growth of the team. I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to carry over into next year, and that I think is going to make us a better team next year, that we experience this, because now, like I said, we can draw on it.
Appreciate your time and insight. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm curious, Paul, if you can take us through what the game plan on Tina was. You had faced her twice and she scored over 30 both times. So what changed this time? And, what did you see out of the team defensively?
It's a really good question. The game plan was to not let Tina beat us. We were going to make the rest of the team beat us. And so we sent our double teams from a different location, which required the team to learn rotations all over again, like from the very beginning. And that's something that, again, speaking of growth with our team, I've told you guys this multiple times. Remember in the bubble season, talking a lot about, I can't change our defensive scheme because we can't do this one well yet. So I can't do a new one because, we're not even good at that. They were able to implement a completely new defensive scheme and hold Tina to 8 points. She's still the leading scorer in the league, right? At this point.
Yes.
I mean, it was a tremendous effort. And I think that, it wasn't so much, I think, the game plan as it was the execution. And the execution goes to them. the credit goes to them on that, because it wasn't a crazy great game plan. It was just that they were determined to execute it.
Just one more. The only starter to not reach double digits was Beck Allen, but she did as the highest plus minus on the team.
Yeah.
Why do you think that makes sense? And what did you see from what she was able to do in 28 plus minutes?
Plus minus is an interesting one. It's as everybody knows, it's a flawed statistic at times, but it does show you trends. And Beck, in my opinion, Beck's defense, her gravity as a shooter, every time she's on the court, she and Sammy and Sabrina, their gravity is really, really strong. And so you can pull the help out, and it allows other people to get to the basket. So, I'd have to go back and watch during her minutes what those big differences were, but I know for sure early on that she had a couple of threes that were huge for us, extending our lead. And as everybody knows, that the threes really feed this team. They thrive when they knock down threes, and it fires them up on defense. We get more stops. And so, yeah, I think that Beck's contributions defensively this year, I really hope they don't go unnoticed, because she's been phenomenal in that regard. And that's something that at one point in her career was a knock on her. And now she's become pushed herself to being probably close to an elite defender.
Midway through the third quarter, after Foster and Howard had turned over the ball the first time, we called a timeout, and at least from our vantage point, it looked like the team, like the players were leading a timeout, and you were just standing there, just observing. Was that intentional? Like you called that timeout so that they could figure it out themselves, or could you tell me like what went into that and what the discussion was?
Absolutely. I didn't call the timeout intending for them to kind of take it. But when I saw our leaders doing what I've been asking our leaders to do, that's all I needed to see. And then we came in, we gave them a couple of words at the end. They needed to hear it from each other. They needed to go at each other a little bit and demand more from one another. I can go and yell until I'm blue in the face. At some point, it goes in one ear and out the other with a coach. And there's no way around that. But your teammates, you're not going to look off your teammates. And I think that was one of the happiest moments in the game for me, to watch them just take the timeout. I was really proud of them for doing that.
If I could just do one really quick follow-up. We know Trishana was on the court for the game and went around. Do you know what her illness was exactly, and that could like change her status from questionable to probable?
She's still got a really bad cough, and I know she's she was able to go, but she's still not she's not right. She's not quite ready, but she was able to go and go hard and contribute a lot with her leadership and her voice, which is one of the the unsung characteristics of Rashonda. She's really come in and been a wonderful leader and a wonderful veteran presence for us.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, you talked about defense. I'm curious, outside of Tina, if there's any particular focus on the backcourt for Washington and what you really wanted to do as far as the guards.
No, it was the game plan was really about the team approach to what was going to happen if we got Tina to give the ball up and where we needed to go out of that. It wasn't so much about individuals, because of the fact that we're switching so much. It's not going to be, this matchup is extremely important, because all they have to do is set a ball screen at the top of the key. We switch and they get the matchup that they want. Right. And so the focus was really, hey, no matter who's down there, if Sammy's going to switch on to Tina, you just have to make sure Tina doesn't get underneath you, and you stay underneath her so that the help can come when they throw the ball. We're going to fly at her. That was the primary part of the game plan. And then really it was talk on the backside. You've got to talk and communicate back there. And I thought that we got a little lazy with some of our closeouts, during that run of them knocking down open threes. We just were worried about getting beat off the dribble. And so we'd close out a little short and boom, they'd knock it down. But yeah, that's probably the gist of the overall game plan.
And you talked about essentially communication. That was my next question to you, because first half alone, it was night and day from what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
In the last few games, you also mentioned the timeout, but was that a focus that came from you, or was that from the team?
I think, I think it for sure started with, us demanding that of them. But I don't want to take the credit for it because, we demand a lot of things and they're the ones who did it. So yes, we've been urging and pushing them to understand the importance of that communication. And it was universal. It wasn't just like I'm talking because I'm in help or because I'm switching. It was the bench. It was them holding each other accountable. And I thought that, we took a big step in that regard tonight, a really, really big step. And now it's got to be a repeatable habit.
So Tosh was incredibly efficient tonight, hitting 11 of 13 shots. It was in that first quarter that she initially set the tone, scoring your first 7 points and then 11 of her 22, 24. How did her energy from the tip prove to be a catalyst for the entire team?
Yeah, I told her, I gave her a big hug after the game and told her how proud I was that she stepped up and led, because again, her thing, we had everybody on the team right on the board after our meeting yesterday, 3, 4, 5 things that they were going to commit to doing that they haven't been doing. I'm going to commit to doing XYZ. And I know that one of Tosh's was the lead by example. She's not a particularly vocal leader. She's kind of a sneaky vocal leader. Like she kind of will pull you over to the side and say something to you in your ear. She's not going to stop everybody and yell and really, be demonstrative. She really stuck to her word in terms of leading by example, by doing the little things, by sticking to our game plan. She took one shot, one of her 2 misses on the night, and it was a shot that we've been talking a lot about this year. Like a long kind of contested 2 and a weird point in the shot clock. It's like, Tosh, you can get a better shot than that, and for the first time all year, she looked over at me and she was like, I know, right when she shot it. And that, again, the growth, right? I mean, it's really good to see everybody truly buy into, look, just tell me what I got to do and I'm going to do it. And Tosh was at the forefront of that for sure.
But you're on the way. A couple of things, if I could. Out of the past few weeks, it's obviously been a difficult time. You have an estate to address frustration of the team and with us at times as well about it. So kind of 2 parts. So one being, has over this past few weeks, have there been times where you've wondered whether what's essentially 2 years of lessons were going to take hold and then just have a follow-up from that?
There's moments where I question myself. Am I doing enough? Am I the reason why, these things aren't going our way? Am I the reason, that I haven't questioned that it's going to eventually work with them. The question for me has always been, what am I not doing, or what am I, not doing enough of? I think that's probably the long and short of it. Yeah, I could probably expand, but yeah.
Well, and then just the flip side of that is tonight, a lot of what you're describing are things that have been 2 seasons in the making.
Yeah.
What was the level of satisfaction of seeing it, and what was the moment tonight that you kind of realized, well, this is happening. This is going to happen the way it should have been happening in your mind, throughout the season?
Honestly, Howard, I saw glimpses throughout this entire stretch of losses. I really did. I saw growth from every one of them. I saw something that they couldn't do or hadn't done, and they did it. Michaela getting the 2 feet on her finishes again. She did it tonight again, finished through contact. Didi, the aggression and the confidence to go attack in that situation in a very crucial point in the game when we were having trouble scoring, and Didi went and made something happen. Just like I said before the game, Didi's always going to make something happen one way or the other. She's going to make something happen. So there wasn't necessarily a time tonight where I saw, kind of this confluence of events that was like, wow, we made it. It's more, this season has really taught me the truth behind the importance of time and experience with a group. there have been times where I've really thought our coaching staff has done a tremendous job, and some of our best coaching has come in losses, I think. The staff has been phenomenal in terms of their contribution not only to game plans and things like that, but the way that they connect with the players and stuff like that. So those are the things that I've seen, that I watch, and I think, yeah, like, just give us a little time. We're going to be a problem, and I think that the way that we lost the games down this stretch was very much what young teams do. And it's very much what I've seen with my own eyes as a coach on the sideline so many times with teams that were fledgling, young. They're going to get there sometime. That Tulsa team in 2013, it was just like this, 7-8 losses where we were ahead with 2 or 3 minutes to go. You've got to learn how to close games. It took Connecticut how long with this core, and they've had the same core essentially. And it took getting bounced out of the playoffs, single game eliminations. And, we're talking about year 5 or 6, and now Connecticut looks like the team to beat, but it took them 5 or 6 years with that same core. So it's something that I try, and I know I'm a broken record with you guys. I talk about that a lot because I've really learned how true that is. Truly, I've learned how true that is, and that there's, I've been able to be kinder to myself in moments of frustration because I realize, like, we're doing all the right things. It just takes time, and they're proving it. The players are proving it, and I think they proved it tonight.
So Howard, you alluded to it, Dr. Howard, is that first half, this team, when you see this team make the dream, is that first half like when you see your dream in terms of where this team is at the end?
Yeah, I think you can look at the way that they've started a few of these games recently, and see offensively a similar kind of clicking, kind of on all cylinders in the first half. What we hadn't seen was the defense. And the defense was what the difference was tonight. Obviously, we made shots, but the attention to detail on the game plan was the best it's been all season, probably. And honestly, it could have been better. It could have been considerably better. And those breakdowns didn't cost us as much in that first half, and in the second half they did. Eric made some great adjustments, to counter our switching and try to get the ball to Tina and to Maisha in spots where they could, give us trouble. But yeah, I think that the first half was a really good look at where we want to be, not necessarily like, hey, we did that once, we can do that every time, but more so this is the style of basketball that we want to play, where we're hard-nosed defensively. We're swarming the glass with an undersized team, and, we out-rebounded them, I think, by 6, and the team has really, answered the call on the rebounding front for the most part this year too. Yeah, I think it was a good look at who we hope to be.
Well, I'm sorry, there's a question from a colleague that I got. You mentioned Eric and the switches he made. I'm curious, he debuted as a head coach for the first time.
Yeah.
The circumstances were unfortunate, obviously, but, what were you able to give him any advice before? And I guess what goes through your mind when you see him making this debut?
I've known for a long time Eric was going to be a really good head coach. He's been doing this for a long time. He's the son of one of the best to ever do it. Eric is more than ready. He doesn't need advice from me. I probably need advice from him. He's a classy guy, and he's a damn good coach. And so it doesn't surprise me that they, with a first-time head coach, were able to weather the onslaught of that first half and come back and keep swinging at us. He's going to be a really good head coach. There's no doubt in my mind he'll be a head coach. And, I think for him to step up in the midst of having his dad, in the situation he's in a must-win game, essentially, right, for that team. Yeah, I can't say enough about Eric. I think he's going to continue in the direction he's been heading in for a long time.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Next up, we have Sabrina Ionescu, Natasha Howard, and Sammy Whitcomb.
Thank you, everybody.
What do you think, 24-point lead, it's down to 5, and is this an example, of a road game where you guys responded and closed out?
Absolutely. I think in other games, we give up our lead or give up our momentum and, they'd go on their run and we weren't able to withstand it. But I think tonight showed, we were up big and they got hot and hit a lot of great and tough shots, but we were able to continue to score and continue to stay together. And that's a huge growth moment for us this season that we finally reached. And now we have to continue to do that moving forward, whether it's this season or next season.
Natasha, you helped control us to points, really competed throughout the game, the team did too. What worked against her and why was it so effective?
Just being physical with her and also our trapping scheme that we worked on for 2 days, and everybody bought in and everybody knew what we had to do when she caught the ball, and that's how we all kept her to only score 8-10 points. So we did a good job overall the team.
Thank you, Darius. This question is for anyone who's comfortable answering it. Coach Hopkins spoke about the accountability you had for each other as a team, particularly in the third quarter timeout where you guys pretty much ran it. So what can you say about the accountability you guys had for each other, not only tonight, but throughout this season?
Well, we haven't had it enough throughout the season, and that's kind of been the issue, I would say. But tonight we did have it. I thought we had it throughout the course of the game, but in particular when they went on their run, that's when I thought we really had it. We held each other accountable. We got in each other's, faces a bit and made sure that we knew that we weren't going to do, some of the things that we'd done in past games when teams have gone on their runs, like to continue to turn the ball over or force bad shots, not play defense, not get stops. We wanted to remain poised and really like Sab said, this was going to be our opportunity to grow from all of those lessons that we learned in all the other losses in those moments. But it meant, we had to see that for ourselves. We had to call each other on that and we had to respond. And I think we did.
Again, for anyone who's comfortable answering it, even if the postseason isn't meant to be, what does it need to go into the offseason, recovering from a performance like Wednesday, going into the offseason, being a team that is only 2 years removed from the championship and holding its best player to about only 10 points in the process?
I think we're holding our heads high. And that's honestly what, we talked about. There's so much that's going to go into whether we make it or not, but we wanted to finish this game on home court with the fans the way that we knew we could. And we took the right steps tonight, and that's just going to trickle into next season, whether that's the postseason or that's the following season to come. So I think, it showed a lot of us what we demand of each other and what we demand of ourselves. And that's the new, kind of level of excellence that we're going to demand from now on. And so I think it's amazing that we were able to see it right now and tonight, and we were able to see that we hold each other accountable and we continue to fight and battle and withstand punches. No matter what teams go on runs, we're going to continue to stick together and keep chipping away. And I mean, we ended up with a win. So I think it's been great, and we're going to have to continue to grow.
Appreciate your time inside all three. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Congrats on the win. So I want to ask one of you, beginning with you, who is someone that coming off the bench you thought really stepped up tonight?
I thought Dee Dee was great. I mean, she's always a spark for us. She's always really great for us, but I thought she continued to do that. She did things and implemented things that we've talked about in terms of how we want to be aggressive to the basket and finish and rebound and defend. She's always really pesky defensively. I thought Mick was really solid in her minutes as well. Kai had a big 3 for us. I mean, really, I thought everybody did what we needed them to do in terms of coming in, sustaining the energy, lifting a level almost really, and just making the most of their minutes. But in particular, I thought that Dee Dee and Mick were really great.
Sabrina, for you, Walt came in and you addressed us and you talked about your growth this season and how you were asked to do a bunch of things that really you've never done for this season. So can you sort of take us through what that adjustment has been like for you this season and maybe an example of one of those things that you've never had to do?
Yeah, I mean, getting healthy has been the biggest one. And, it's hard coming in as this being my rookie year and, still battling a little bit of injury and having to figure it out. But, I think one of the biggest things is just being a one. I haven't played one. And I think, a lot of people forget that. And in college, I started off at 2 or 3 for my 4 years, and same in high school. So I think just learning how to be a point guard in this league and how to lead my team and, how do I call plays for certain players that are hot, and to be able to, maintain the lead that we have or get us into something that can help us get the lead. So that's been huge, just learning my teammates and trying to figure out what I need to call and how can I put them in a position to succeed. And, it's a work in progress. I'm not even anywhere near, where I want to be and, where I think that we could all be. And so I'm just happy that the coaches have kind of stuck with me and my teammates have held me accountable to continue to grow.
And Natasha, for you, can you explain to us how much you wanted this win? Like when you woke up this morning, what were you thinking?
When I got up this morning, I wasn't even thinking about nothing, to be honest. I wasn't.
I believe that.
I knew that was gonna.
I knew that was gonna be the
I knew that was
response.
gonna be the response.
Classic.
But when I got to the gym and shoot around and stuff, in my mind, I'm like, we need this win. Like, we all know we need this win. And, we came in, did our job this morning. We locked in, and then game time came, we were still locked in. We had slippage, in the third quarter, but we picked it up. And we also had our leaders telling us, like, we ain't trying to have another mistake how we've been doing in the past 7 games that we had. And that's when our growth came, and that's when, we all stayed together and we fought and came out with the win.
How much does the fan energy play into how you guys perform through the night? I know, Garaja came into the game, had that speak to the fans, and we were all kind of like, oh, that's new. So how much does the fan energy actually play into you guys' performance?
I mean, I think it always helps for sure. I think in moments where, we're trying to create or recreate momentum that maybe we've lost, it's really big in those moments. There were times when we sort of lost that momentum when they were, coming at us and someone hit a big 3, someone got a big shot, whatever. Obviously we're excited, but hearing the fans get behind us and them getting louder, it's more deflating for the other team, I think, for sure. So in those moments, that's really big. We know what it feels like, to be on the road against teams that have really good fans and have really great followings. And it's hard to play through that. So it was really big for us, I think, tonight.
One quick follow-up. Did you know coming into this game that you were getting ready to hit your 1,000 for the game?
No, I did not. Yeah, I did not.
So you just, when you overheard, you're like, oh.
No, I didn't hear it in the game. I had no idea. They told me after the game. I didn't hear it. Did they announce it in the game? Did not hear that. Nope. Sure didn't hear that.
Never mind. Congratulations. though.
Thank you.
Cindy, stick with you, if that's all right.
Sure.
You talked a little bit about the communication, having to find boys while also being able to have some, kind of like the drive to really just get it done. In the moment. I'm curious if, or how much you feel the situation as far as the playoffs contributed to that. How much of just the work that the team has done over the season contributed to you being able to push the right buttons tonight, that maybe weren't coming together in the last handful of games?
I mean, yes, I guess yes and no in terms of the playoffs, but that's been a thing, that we've been aware of, for the last 8 games that we've lost too. So I think for us, it was a lot of like, we weren't going to accept it. Like we'd finally, I guess, reached our point of like, we're learning from this. We're going to grow. We're not going to accept this anymore. We've been here too many times and, had the same result. So I think it was just the right opportunity for us to really do that. And obviously I think, last game of regular season, potentially, that's all we can kind of control in that moment. And I think, we were faced with an opportunity to really just say like, not this time, not tonight. And I think less the playoffs because that's, we still don't really know. And more just like Sab said, like, we wanted to end in a way that was going to set us up moving forward, like what we're about. We're establishing what we try, what we want to, that level of excellence we want to move with going forward. And I think that's what we were trying to do tonight. Hopefully it's postseason for us, or we get to really expand on that. But if it's not, we've set the tone for us moving forward. And I think that's what it was about.
And Sabrina, you talked about this season really being about getting healthy again. But we understand from the coach that he also, it sounded like, asked each individual to think of things that you were going to commit to doing going into this game. I wonder if you could maybe just summarize for yourself what that was and how do you think that motivated your play tonight?
Yeah, I wrote down a couple of things, so I don't remember them all. But I think it would be, being in the moment, helping my teammates and, lifting everyone around me, staying positive, finding happiness in everything that I do, and winning was the last one. So I'm happy that we did that. But it was nice. It was nice to be able to also read other people's, and when you can get a little bit of insight on that and maybe what other people are struggling with or want to hone in on and work at to kind of overcome, it gives you a little bit of insight how you can help as well. And so I think, us as leaders, whether it's vocally or as we're leading by example, I think, it's a big deal to be able to be vulnerable like that and be able to talk about it and try and help one another. And in that way we grow collectively. So I thought it was a great idea that, Coach Walt had us do that. And I think it's helped us come together a little bit.
One of the first questions that we asked you as New York CEO when you came over in off season was one of the things that you wanted to focus on. And leadership is what you said. I don't know if you remember that. But it sounds like leadership was at the top of your mind coming into this game as well. Similar question to what I asked Sabrina. How do you feel that manifested for you in today's game?
Manifested big time. I'm not a talkative person really. I show through like my actions, but tonight I actually was talking a lot than I normally do. But just me just stepping up to that plate and also, being more vocal more and, just tell my teammates whatever I'm saying on the court, I don't know. But yeah, that was one of my big things, just coming in, just being that leader, being that veteran and, just guiding our young team, me and Sammy and Laney, just guiding us to to the playoff, whatever's next for us.
I wanted to follow up a little bit on what Erica was asking Natasha, and just talk about the start that you got off to tonight's game. You were incredibly efficient all night long, especially at the very beginning. You scored the team's first 7, and you had 11 in that first quarter. When you talk about the energy that you're bringing and leading by example, how were you able to be such a catalyst from the opening tip? And I guess for your teammates too, just knowing that you were such a safety blanket for them because you were hitting all your shots early?
Just being active, just reading my defender, reading how side gonna come up, she's gonna snake, she's gonna tap my thigh, my leg to know that she's gonna snake. So I'm just reading off my teammates and stuff. And I couldn't do it without my teammates, getting me the ball, scoring the baskets and stuff. So overall, I thank my teammates.
Thanks. And then my other question for Sammy, on a night where Natasha was the only starter to struggle a bit from the floor, she dished out the season high 11 assists. And she was playing very physical defense and doing a lot of those same switches that you were being asked to do, or kind of crashing on some of those doubles. Could you talk about her effort in filling up the stat sheet on a night where she didn't have her best shooting performance?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a growth thing for her as well that we've talked about, that, it's not always going to be, obviously we're used to her scoring 20 points a game and all of that, but it's not always going to be that. And we need her to give still. We need her to show up still and be our leader. And that means, working hard defensively. It means if double teams come, like find the open person, people will knock down shots. And I thought she did a great job of facilitating, not turning the ball over. That's a big one too, because she is getting a lot of pressure. She is seeing multiple bodies. So taking care of it, making the right decision. We need her to do that. And yeah, defensively, obviously she's super versatile for us. So guarding bigs, guarding guards, whatever it is, stepping up in that way. But yeah, I mean, on nights, if she struggles offensively, she has to make up for it in other ways. And I thought she did a really, really good job of that tonight. Sure.
Hi, first one is for Sabrina. Sabrina, it's been almost 2 years since it was clear that New York got the #1 pick. You were going to be the #1 pick. I didn't say over this past couple of years, it's different from what you probably envisioned it was going to be at the time you were coming here. How much did tonight seem like the way you pictured it? And is it easier to picture what the future looks like and the success here because of what happens tonight?
Absolutely. I think, my first year, I've only played 2 games and we were in a bubble, so it was a little bit different. And then, coming back from injury is always hard, especially it being my first, serious injury. But I think, like we've talked about, just like that feeling of growth and that feeling of unity that we had tonight is really what this team's about and why they put us all together. And so absolutely, especially being able to do it on our home court, the fans were amazing. I don't know how many fans were there, but it felt like there was a lot. And, we heard them, we felt them. It was electric and that helped us. And so I think it comes down to really just everyone's important, whether, our GM being there every single day, every single practice, whether we're playing well or not, our head coach and our coaches showing up every single day. I think it's really starting to feel like home for a lot of us. And, being a new team, that's hard to say. And so, especially from us being really young and veterans that have played on a lot of other teams, I think we're starting to come together and figure it out. And so, whatever happens the rest of the season, I don't think it really matters. I think at the end of the day, we're proud with what we've accomplished, but it's only the beginning. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds for this team.
And then for Natasha and Sandy, you both know what championship teams look like. It's part of it. Where is this team in the success cycle and what needs to happen to get to where they need to go? And does tonight is one game, but does tonight help you see that a little clearer? Both of you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the consistency. I think that's what you see amongst really good teams, championship teams. They're consistent. They show up every night. They figure out how to win ugly games. They can, when things aren't going their way, they work through it. They've got that leadership. They've got that experience in those moments, poise in those moments. So for me, you don't get there without experiences and seasons like this, without games like this. That's how you get the experience. So it sucks in the moment. It's hard in the moment to lose 8 games in a row, but to come back and to win that 9th one, to fight through it, to push past all of that we faced before that, and to really grow and learn from those experiences, that's going to go a long way into next year. But it's hard. It's hard to show up every night and to play that hard. So for us, it's about that consistency. It's about seeing what we did tonight, understanding that we're capable of that, and that's the level that it takes, and demanding that from each other in practice every single day, and then every single game. And I think when we get to that level of understanding that, I think that's where, you'll really see us, I think, become one of those kinds of teams. And I don't know what that, if that's in 2 years, if that's in 1 year, that I don't know. That's going to be up to us, I think. But I have no doubt that we've got that capability. It's just whether or not, we come in every single day, and I think we will, and get that, because it's an everyday thing.
And Natasha, that just in terms of what needs to happen to get from here to where your previous teams have been.
Like Sammy said, you stay consistent and you just keep growing as an individual and as a team. And just keep working day in and day out. And just the leader just keep being leaders and just keep guiding everybody on and off the floor. And we could get to that point. Like Sammy said, it may take a year or two, whatever. And we kind of keep doing that. Y'all see us like with the Seattle, with the Connecticut's and stuff, and years to come.
Howard kind of asked a question, so probably your fit was immaculate. Is there any special significance to the Penny Hardaway jersey?
Excuse me?
Any significance to the Hardaway jersey, or you just like it?
No, I just like it. I just like it. Penny Hardaway, I just like it. I'm trying to go with my kicks too, so that's why I put it on.
It looks great.
Thank you.
It is elite.
I respect that contribution.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
respect that.
Solid.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to see you guys in person. I usually
Yeah.
hear your questions